I came to a very drastic realization, and I've realized that I have a tendency to almost overextend myself when it comes to working out, running, even just working on the business, sales, whatever I'm doing, to the point where it's almost like trying to run a marathon when you have broken legs. Of course, you can do it, but you're not going to walk for the next month. And that's the problem I was facing, where I was like, if I'm not always working on something, if I'm not always running, if I'm not always lifting, if I'm not always like working out, or I already said that, but same idea, just working. Even though I'm absolutely exhausted, like I wake up every morning, I'm tired, I can barely just even stay awake past like 12 o'clock. Um, and what I realized is like recovery is actually kind of important. And I was all under the mindset of if you stop doing something for like at all, you've essentially fell off, right? And I essentially realized this when the quality of the work I do dramatically decreased. The amount of work I could literally do is just plummeted. So essentially, I am now taking like a month or so where I'm basically maintaining everything I have and creating a new lifestyle of focusing more on recovery because like my sleep has been garbage for the past 3 months, if I had to guess. I've just started to kind of become more strict about that, like getting actually falling asleep at a good time, waking up earlier, that kind of stuff, getting more sleep. And along with that, like today, I literally took a 3 hour walk without listening to anything, just walking. And there's like a park, holy, a park nearby, that I just wandered around in for like those 3 hours. Went to grab a coffee from some place and came back home and got on a sales, not a sales call, a client call, made some changes. Things are going great. And it's almost like I feel like more present again, And I don't know if anyone's experienced this before, but like after months, maybe even years of just, I guess, just living like not getting proper rest, maybe you're eating junk food. I don't know how much that contributes, but it's definitely a factor of like you just essentially feel like you're in like third person all the time. You're not fully there. Your brain is kind of just in the background, not really wanting to do anything because it's overused. And just like any muscle, your brain needs to rest. It needs to recover and relax. Um, I've gotten to the point where like my head would hurt anytime I would try to do any kind of thinking or work or just even mild kind of comprehending anything. And I would just stand there staring at the person talking to me, having them repeat what they're saying like 3 times before I figured out what they were trying to say. Um, and like this cannot continue. It's only going to get worse, and I'm only going to grind myself more into the ground. And I guess I kind of had that mindset shift of it's not like you didn't fail if you stop. It's more like just refueling. Like you have to stop a car to refuel with gasoline. You don't just keep driving until it's broken down and you're just stuck, right? So yeah, I guess I completely thought about it wrong, and I'm changing all of this stuff, kind of working my way into making it my new lifestyle. Of course, I'm not going to be walking for 3 hours every day, but I'm still going to make an effort to spend as much time as I can, either outside or, just working on something simple to kind of let my brain relax a bit and recover. Because I don't know about you guys, but for me, it was like I physically felt like my brain had walled itself off from the rest of my head to the point where I was like, it's almost like you tried to think about something and it's like you tried to give a math problem to a kid. He's like, no, I'm not going to do it. It's the same thing with my brain. My brain's just like, no, like I physically felt that almost. Um, and now even after like a couple of days of this, of just, doing what I'm doing right now, I feel better. Like I feel more present. Of course, still kind of an autopilot, but again, that's for the amount of time that I've been upholding this stuff with. It's going to take a long time to recover fully. So I'm fine with that. And I'm also about to, like, we finally figured out the issue with the sales thing. I'm going to get into the sales group, start working a sales commission job to get better at sales, grow my own business, that kind of stuff. Um, of course, this comes a long way for that, because if you can't think straight, how are you going to close deals? How are you going to like persuade people on the emotional level, on the, just getting them to buy something that could actually help them, or that's what sales is. But it's, when you can barely think, it's not exactly easy to close a deal or do a cold call. So that's what I've been struggling with the past while, honestly. I don't even know, like, how long, just since I could remember. And I'm gonna fix it. And when I do, I'm just gonna hold down the pedal and not take my gas off. God damn it, I can't talk today. Not gonna stop, not gonna release the pedal, and just go, you know? And that's something that I've been trying to do with basically everything: running, lifting, working. But again, if you're running on fumes, you can't exactly run any faster, or you can, just, you're gonna break down faster. And I have just, like, yesterday, I remember I could barely walk, because not only did I walk for like 2 or 3 hours that day, I also worked out my legs, which, a leg workout, if you've ever done one that was good, you can barely stand afterwards. So then I also went for a run, because I run to the gym and back, and then I walked another maybe like 2 miles to get to some place to get some food. But like, that kind of stacks up, and when your legs are already barely functional and you go through all that, of course they're gonna, like, have I don't know, an aneurysm. But like, that's essentially the plan. Anyone who's going through this, I'd recommend something similar. Of course, like, I'm drastically changing everything, like my diet, although I haven't been eating like unhealthy or anything, but you can always eat healthier. So, like, no sugar, none of that. And like, yeah, just try that. Like, if you feel yourself in the same position that I'm in, just try to have less noise, right? We're always watching some movie, YouTube, whatever, Spotify. Just unplug for a while, just go out and kind of just exist, right? And just try that it's going to take a while, honestly. Don't expect results like tomorrow, but just do that consistently for a while. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to come back stronger and conquer all my goals. So that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, hope this was helpful to someone. And I know this is going to be a turning point that should have happened a long time ago. So that's about it.